Laura, I'd like to ask you a question, I began, and a favor. I had called Laura straight after Grammy, and she told me to come on over. Her husband was away on business, and she had the evening to herself. I was so overwhelmed, I hightailed it to her apartment and blurted out my request as soon as we walked into the living room.
What's the question?
Laura replied. Well, you know Grammy's been thinking about planning her retirement after the accident? Laura nodded.
She mentioned it, yes.
And she's asked me if I would like to kind of take over, pick up the mantle, you know?
Yes?
My question is, do you think I should? Laura considered this for a moment, then asked.
And the favour?
I blushed with embarrassment. Oh, I... I took a breath and came out with it. Could you? I mean, would you... You know? Hypnotize me? Please? Laura grinned.
I'd be delighted.
She replied. I mean, you know, what you did with Lena was amazing. I kind of gushed. And my mom, that was, well, that was a bit of a shock. You know? But,
Don't forget your grandmother.
she added with a sly smile. Grammy too? I gasped.
Of course.
She replied.
Don't forget, Catherine's been on her own for a long time.
Yeah, I guess. Oddly, I could easily accept Grammy taking advantage of Laura's skills.
So, ready?
She asked. What? Right now?
Why not? It's why you're here, isn't it?
She stepped closer and I gasped. Yeah, I guess.
All right, Zoe.
She began softly, fixing those big blue eyes on me.
First of all, because we know each other. Because we both know what's happening here. I'm not going to say it. You know, the thing I always say in these situations. Because I am going to hypnotize you, Zoe. I'm hypnotizing you right now. And I'm going to take you so deep you won't know what day it is. And what's more, you won't even care.
I gasped. Already the room had started to fade on me. All I could see was her eyes, glistening, like deep pools.
I'm often told that my eyes are very beautiful. Well, I don't know about that. I'll let you decide. But as you gaze into my eyes and listen to my voice, I think you'll find that they suddenly become utterly captivating. You can't look away. You don't even want to look away. Why would you? When my eyes are so captivating.
She blinked slowly. Then so did I. I couldn't help it. I was lost, under her spell, hypnotized, but not asleep.
And as you look into my eyes and listen to the sound of my voice, just the sound of my voice. The words don't mean anything really. They're just words. But you can just focus on the sound of my voice. Your subconscious mind, that deep secret part of your mind, will understand, will accept, and will follow, while you just listen to the sound like music.
I kind of lost it completely at this point. Luckily, Laura was recording the whole thing so I could keep a record. But actually, like I said, from this point on, really, Zoe gone. Too deep. Too incoherent. Totally under.
And you know that right now you are deeply hypnotized, and it feels so good to be deeply hypnotized. I know, and you don't have to close your eyes, but you can, if you'd like to, because, you know, why keep them open when we both know it's so much easier to let them close and rest and go deeper.
I let out a sigh. And I guess I closed my eyes. They weren't actually seeing anything anyway. Not really. You know?
And there's something else you might have noticed. that I'm not using the S word, you know? And I'm not using the S word because you don't need the S word. You don't have to be in that state to experience trance. In fact, you can find that in this state, where you are now, you can become even more aware, even more attuned to your body and what your body is telling you. Your body knows, your body understands, and you can accept that connection, that wisdom, that experience.
I can't even begin to describe how I was feeling at that moment. Except for everything. The weight and texture of my clothes, the warmth of the air on my skin, the heat of Laura's breath as she whispered in my ear. I couldn't process it all coherently. I was just pure sensation. It was incredible.
But you have another connection, your connection with Lena, and that connection is incredibly powerful. You can feel it, even now. Yes, and I'd like you to use that connection and go back in your mind to a particular moment, a very special moment when Lena made you come so hard, so completely, so perfectly. That's right, because in a moment, when I say the word now, you are going to feel that orgasm, that wonderful release all over again. Your body remembers, your body understands, and your body can allow you to experience that pleasure. When you hear me say the word, and you want me to say it, you need me to say it, don't you?
I was way too out of it for words, but on the recording you can hear my helpless, pleading sigh.
Yes, of course you do. And I like a nice countdown. So, 3, 2, 1. Now.
What followed was not fit for broadcast. Definitely not safe for work and impossible to transcribe. But I can tell you, it was wonderful. Laura told me afterwards that she had to catch me or I would have wound up on the floor. I was so completely lost. Then Laura brought me out of it. It took a little time, but I slowly came back to reality. I was still feeling a little bit out of it, but at least I could string two thoughts together. That's a phrase I picked up from Laura that pretty much captures the experience of being so deeply hypnotized. Couldn't string two thoughts together. Yeah, that about sums it up. You know? But after she sat me down and brought me a glass of water, I began to feel like myself again. Kind of,
How are you feeling?
she asked. Drunk, I replied after careful consideration. I feel like I'm a little drunk. Laura chuckled.
I can't say I'm entirely surprised.
She said.
You were pretty far gone.
Wow, I exclaimed. What just happened? Did I?
Yes, you did.
Holy shit, I gasped. She looked at me for a moment, then asked,
Would you like to go again?
I stared at her in amazement, my eyes wide.
I think you're still a bit suggestible, so that if I just do a little countdown and say the word, you could...
She grinned.
Shall I?
I couldn't speak, so I just nodded.
3, 2, 1.
She paused, leaving me breathless with anticipation.
Now.
My body exploded with pleasure, and even though I was sitting down this time, it still took me completely. I writhed in delight, slid off the couch and wound up half on the floor with my face buried in a cushion. After it had passed and I could breathe again, I picked myself up, more than a little embarrassed, and carefully sat back on the couch. Luckily, I had taken the precaution of wearing a pad after Lena's experience, and I didn't have to check. I was wet. Oh my God, I gasped. Laura grinned. I reached for my purse and pulled out my cigarettes. Do you mind? I asked.
Not at all.
Laura replied.
In fact, I think I could be tempted.
I let her take one, then grabbed one for myself. I didn't even use my cigarette holder. I couldn't wait that long. We both lit up and I let out a satisfied sigh. Laura closed her eyes and took a long, slow puff.
Lovely.
She sighed. I gave her a kiss on the cheek. Thank you, I said.
You're entirely welcome.
Laura said. How the hell do you do that? I asked. Laura chuckled.
The power of suggestion.
She replied grandiosely. No, but seriously? I followed.
Why do you ask?
She countered. I was confounded for a moment. I couldn't really explain. Then, after taking another luxurious puff, she said,
You see, you asked me a question earlier, and I'm aware that I haven't answered it yet.
I had completely forgotten all about it. But, you know? So, yeah. Do you think I should do it? I asked. She looked at me carefully, then replied simply,
No.
My heart sank. That was not the answer I had expected from Laura. Really? Why not? I said breathlessly. Laura didn't answer right away. She just took a slow, luxurious puff, watching my fallen expression through the haze with a touch of amusement. Then she replied calmly,
Because if you really wanted to do it, you wouldn't have to ask the question.
I was stunned. Broken, my spirit shattered. Was that true? But my mind was whirling in confusion. I couldn't think. My heart was pounding in my ears and I could feel the hot rush of tears on my face. But, I stammered weakly, I did want to do it. Really. But then, why was I asking that stupid question? Not just of Laura, but of Lena and of myself. Should I? Why did that confound me? Laura was watching me carefully, her amused smile, now transformed to gentle, patient concern. She gently touched my hand.
That's it, Zoe. Don't be afraid. Just go with it. You're nearly there.
My mind was still in freefall, and in the pit if my stomach was a rising, writhing ball of something. What was it? Panic? Nausea? Indigestion? I didn't know, but it just kept growing and growing, and suddenly I found that I couldn't breathe as the wave filled me completely. What was happening to me? Then the wave crested and burst like a huge bubble, leaving me empty. No, not empty. Clear. I could breathe again. And I got it. Suddenly I understood. I am afraid, I gasped. Laura nodded wisely. What am I afraid of? I asked myself, Laura and the universe in general. Laura didn't rush to fill the void. She just kept her hand resting over mine, her thumb tracing a slow, gentle pattern on the back of my wrist, the smoke from her cigarette drifting lazily between us. My own cigarette was resting in the ashtray. I guess Laura must have taken it from my hand whilst I was in full meltdown. My question still hung in the air, so I closed my eyes and just allowed my thoughts to drift in this calm, clear space. I do want to do it, I said, my voice clear and open. I want it so much, but I'm just afraid. Then, metaphorically, the smoke cleared and I could see the truth. I'm afraid I won't be any good at it. And I want to be good at it. No, I want to be great at it, like you and Grammy. I opened my eyes and looked at Laura. She looked back at me with a gentle smile, her eyes shining. She finished her cigarette with a satisfied sigh and crushed it out next to mine.
Well, good.
She said, her voice gently ironic.
Because if you told me you wanted to be mediocre at it, I'd have called you an idiot and told you not to give up the day job.
I chuckled. Then I got another realization. You knew? Didn't you?
Yes.
She sighed.
Despite what I said earlier, you weren't asking for advice. You were asking for permission. And you don't need permission. From me or anyone else.
I began to recover myself. So, do you think I could do it? I carefully rephrased my question.
Better?
She replied.
Yes, of course. I think you've just been dazzled by the theatre of it all.
She paused, and I took a moment to crush out my forgotten cigarette.
Let me ask you this. Do you actually think that your grandmother was born with the power to hypnotize people? Do you think I was?
I shook my head. No. I guess I thought it was like a gift or something. You know?
Of course not.
She chuckled.
We learned, we read, we studied, and we practiced. We had good teachers. And trust me, Zoe, your grandmother will be a great teacher.
I smiled. I already knew that.
I can't deny Catherine's got a lot more experience than me, but I promise you, I'm catching up.
I reached for my cigarettes, took one, and Laura accepted another with a smile. Something had changed. I could feel it. Deep down. You know? My confusion was gone. I knew what I wanted. I was going to do this. Not just for Grammy, but for myself. And for Lena.
You want some advice?
Laura asked as we lit up.
Never do anything because you should.
We both grinned at that. Then we just sat quietly for a while, enjoying our cigarettes. I guess Laura was allowing me time to process. Then she chuckled.
You see, Catherine's not the only one who's good with therapy. So what happens now?
Laura asked as I finally got up to leave. First, I'm going to tell Lena everything, I replied. Then we're going to have sex. A lot of sex. Then first thing tomorrow morning, I'll call Grammy and tell her I want in. Laura grinned.
I'm glad to see you've got your priorities straight,
She replied. We hugged warmly, and I thanked her for, well, everything. As I turned towards the door, I noticed for the first time her bookcase, which was full of pocket watches. All displayed proudly, some old, some new, all kinds. Wow, I gasped. Laura just smiled. Before I go, can I ask one question? I said.
Of course.
Laura replied. Why do you have so many pocket watches? Laura chuckled.
I get asked that question so much. I may have to follow your example and set up a website.
Is it a hypnosis thing?
Kind of.
She replied.
I never set out to collect them. It just sort of happened.
She picked one up idly and just let it drop down, dangling from the long chain.
It's kind of silly. But the pocket watch has become something of an iconic thing. It's like a trope.
The watch began to swing gently, and I found myself following it, almost without meaning to.
Our minds have been kind of culturally hardwired.
She continued thoughtfully.
Your mind thinks, oh, I'm watching a pocket watch. I must be being hypnotized. And...
She snapped her fingers and out went the lights. I dropped right into a trance. She brought me right out with another snap of her fingers, a wicked grin on her face. Did I?
Yes, like I said, it's a powerful symbol.
I blinked to stop the room spinning. This was so incredible.
And the fact is,
She continued.
you don't even need a pocket watch.
I was completely enthralled. She was quietly delivering my first lesson.
You can just tell your subject to imagine they're watching a pocket watch as it swings gently back and forth, and...
She snapped her fingers again, and I tried to fight it, but no. Lights out, Zoe. When she brought me back this time, I had to steady myself against the bookcase. Laura was just grinning delightedly.
So,
She said.
the first time I actually hypnotized someone, I was thrilled. And the following day, I was out shopping when I passed an old second-hand shop, and there was this pocket watch in the window. It was only $10, I think, and I thought, well, I can't exactly call myself a hypnotist if I don't even have a pocket watch. So I bought it.
I nodded.
Then, that same evening, a friend who had introduced me to hypnosis turned up and presented me with another pocket watch as kind of an official badge of office.
She grinned.
Then, of course, friends and family cottoned on, and I started receiving pocket watches for birthdays and Christmas, and here we are.
I chuckled. Badge of office, huh? Laura paused thoughtfully, then said,
Okay, Zoe, I'll make you a deal.
Okay?
When you've actually hypnotized someone for the first time, let me know, and I will present you with your official badge of office.
I beamed delightedly. Deal, I said.
But not Lena.
She added. Why not Lena? She sighed patiently.
Zoe, Lena's besotted with you. She'll drop for you in a heartbeat. Oh no, someone. Anyone other than Lena.
I was halfway out the door when I stopped and turned back. Laura, are you doing anything this weekend? She blushed apologetically.
Actually, I'm going to a wedding.
I was crushed. I had completely forgotten that other people might be getting married on the same day. Seeing my crestfallen expression, she added,
Yours.
Really?
Yes, your mother invited me.
I grinned delightedly. Of course she did.
And your grandmother.
I chuckled. She'd soon have the whole family under her spell. Well, now I'm inviting you, so you have to come.
Zoe, I wouldn't miss it for the world.